Hi guys, and welcome to my latest car review. It is the 2020 Suzuki Swift Sport Hybrid. Most important part of the name, that's what differentiates this car from last year's edition, if you like. Quite a bit to get into, a lot of good news, a little bit of bad news. I'm going to get into all of that. Before I do that, make sure that you're subscribing to youtube.com/browncarguy. Make sure you follow me on all my social media channels. Just search for #browncarguy. That's on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And of course, subscribe to browncarguy.com. You can also sponsor my content on patreon.com/Shazad Sheikh. So back to the Suzuki Swift Sport Hybrid. Now it still has a 1.4 booster jet turbo engine, but it's slightly down on power at 138 brake horsepower before. Now it gets 127 brake horsepower, but it's slightly up on torque. So 170 pounds-foot before, now 3 more at 173 pounds-foot of torque. Acceleration, however, is down. So 0 to 62 miles per hour before, it was 8.1 seconds. Now it's 9.1 seconds. Having said that, it feels a bit different in the driving, and I'll get into why that is. The fuel economy has improved. 3 miles per gallon more, from 47.1 miles per gallon to 50.1 miles per gallon. Similarly, emissions are also down. That's the CO2 emissions, grams per kilometer. Before it was 135 grams per kilometer, and now it's 127 grams per kilometer. Now, how does the hybrid work? Well, the good news, the other bit of good news is that it's actually got a 6-speed manual and a clutch. So yes, as you'd expect from a hot hatch, this is a proper self-shifting car. It's a manual car, and the reason for that, you're thinking, how have they done that with a hybrid? Because it's not a full hybrid. It's called a mild hybrid. It gets a 48-volt battery that sits underneath the front seats, and it assists the engine a little bit, normally at low rev. So when you're starting off, hence why the initial, I would say the 0 to 30 possibly acceleration actually feels quite sprightly in this car. It also does other things like making the stop-start smooth. So as soon as you come to a halt and take your let the clutch out, it will shut down and it will start up again very imperceptibly, very smoothly. And also the electric motor helps to power the other components in the car that would normally sap power from the engine, so thereby freeing up more juice for going and driving the car. We will be doing that later on. Now here's the bad news, the price. It's gone from £18,000 up to £22,000. Yeah, that's another 4 grand. Is it worth it? Well, let's check it out. Hey, it looks pretty cool at the back, doesn't it? With the twin exhaust outlet, and check out this carbon fiber effect on the back here. So the boot, as you would expect, not huge, but still quite usable, and quite a low loading area. So you've got quite a bit of a lip to get your stuff over. But underneath here, you have a tire repair kit and maybe a little box where you can store some more stuff. So no space saver or no spare tire there. And of course you've got split folding rear seats, plus a little hook and a light back here. Hey, what more do you need? Anyway, that's pretty much all there is to say about that. What about the room in the back? Let's go check that out. Here we go in the back of the Suzuki Swift. Remember, this is just a little Suzuki Swift, and these sports bucket driving seats, if you like, are actually, this one is actually set for my driving position. I am of course 6'2", so on the tall side with long legs, and yet I'm all right. If you look down there, plenty of wiggle room for my feet, no problem at all. And it's helped out by this scoop that's in the back of the seat, which is quite soft actually. But the back of the seat, the knee room is just helped out by that. So if I was any taller, I might have a problem. If that seat was any further back, I might have a problem. Now, back of that is just digging, the headrest is just digging in, but that's not a problem because I've just moved it up. So that's fine. Headroom is no issue at all. Elbow room is not too bad. Electric switch for the windows. There is a bottle holder type thing there, a little tray in there, and down here there's another little compartment. There isn't an armrest. There are Isofix child seat anchor points, so that's good, and 3 seat belts back here. So, but other than that, there's not too much to say about the rear, but that's fine because this is all you really need, isn't it, in a little hatchback? Wonder what the front is like. That's what I'm interested in. Here we go. Check this out. I told you, didn't I? Manual gearbox in a hybrid. So here we are, lots of red. Look at this red carbon type effect on the dashboard here. Very nice, and that's replicated in both the instrument panel and on the stitching on the steering wheel. How do you like that? As well as, of course, the sport labels on these bucket seats, cloth seats, but not bad, very comfortable, very nice. And there's more trim down here and on the doors at the front as well. You don't get on the back, just on the front. So let's start it up. There's a starter button over here, as you can see. We press that. Oh look, it's already telling me because I put the clutch down, and once I start it up, that's what happens. There you go, that comes on over there, little Suzuki symbol comes on over here. Now, this bit here is your normal Suzuki interface, which is to say it's really good, very simple, very straightforward. Does have DAB radio and Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. You can do that once your phone is connected through there. It's got navigation, and of course you can go through all the settings from there, and go through all that from there and all the rest of it. Volume control is it's got the slidey one, which is kind of a little bit awkward to get used to. I would prefer a knob, but I do have a volume control here, and plus the stereo controls here. This one I'll come back to in a minute. So air conditioning on this one, climate control if you like. So you just set it from here. It's a bit weird because I keep thinking that's the one to turn. It's not, it's this one. You turn this one to actually affect that. And that's just the fan speed. That's where you can turn it off and all the rest of it. Down here is a power supply here. That's a normal one. This is your USB. So it's once you plug, and an aux as well. So once you plug the USB in, then that all activates, and the Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, all of that is working. Nice little tray here, quite handy to put your phone on. There's a couple of cup holders, manual gearbox, and it's got a pull-up thing to engage reverse, which is down here, and you get a reversing camera. So that's quite handy in a little car like that. Although to be honest, like you look over your shoulder, it's not difficult to judge. But anyway, you have a reversing camera. Little tray there if you like. There's a couple of blank things here, which I suspect were buttons for the electric windows, maybe in older models, because this one, of course, has got it right here. So it's got the full set right there, and of course, it's got folding mirrors, and I can adjust the mirrors from there as well. Good old-fashioned handbrake. I like that if you're into your handbrake turns. Not that you should be, but you never know. And over here you've got a bunch of controls for traction off and all the rest of it. I like the pedals. Check it out, because you've got that sort of effect about them. You can heel and toe with a bit of practice. That's pretty much it for that. So over here, on the steering wheel, you've got your own remotes. You've actually got lane keep assist, so you can actually have lane keep alert, so it alerts you. The little sign comes up, it tells you that you're moving out of lane, or it will actually correct the steering if I turn that on. I've turned that off, of course, because I find that obtrusive. There's your controls for your phone and stuff like that. That, as I said, that's your cruise control, and it's got active cruise control, so you can set the distance from that. Works really well, very good for a little car like this, not bad at all. And here are your stereo controls. Now this bit here controls the information there. So as I press that, you'll see that changes, and there's quite a few options in there. So that was, of course, just a display for the speed. That's your miles per gallon, 48.6. I've seen, about 48.7, 48.8 on the longer runs. I've done about 350 miles in this. Still got a range of 135 with half a tank of fuel showing, and that's where you get a further chart. Driving time, 9 hours I've spent in this car. Wow, okay. And that's a total idle stop time. So that what tells you is the amount of fuel that you're recovering by the engine turning off, and I did reset that when I had that. So in 9 hours, I've recovered 250 miles from just turning it off. That's pretty impressive if that's true. That's incredible. And that's just your time and date. Now this is sort of like a G meter, so it tells you the motion, power and torque. So you can do that, and you can see that comes up on there, and that also is like brake, acceleration, brake, that will show you. I don't know why you need these. That shows you the turbo boost. Well, not like Knight Rider, but when you're using the turbo, it shows you how much of it's using it. Now this is the hybrid bit. So this bit tells you whether the engine is charging the battery, or whether the battery is assisting the motor, the alternator motor, to drive the car. And it's interesting that when you accelerate, you will see the arrows go up from the battery to give that extra boost. Otherwise, they're normally going the other way around, to be honest. So that's what you get from all of that. So seating position is actually pretty good. It's quite upright. I like it quite upright, but it is adjustable. Plenty of headroom, shoulder room, no problem at all. Good visibility all around. The mirrors are pretty big enough, and really, it's a very, very comfortable, nice place to be in. No problem for a small car, and I'm a tall guy. No issues whatsoever. What's it like on the go? Well, that's what we're going to find out next. So let's get. Oh, see what I mean? Straight away, about just over $3 grand. I think 3,000 RPM. You start to feel that little bit of a boost. Actually, you get it straight away. Off the line, you feel something straight away that there's some sort of an assist there. That's definitely quite desirable. We are on a very bumpy little road. I've been down this road before. So the fact that this is a small car coping with this road is actually quite commendable, although you will see quite a lot of movement and it's not the most comfortable of things, but that is this particular road. But the fact that it's doing as well as it is actually quite commendable. The steering is really nicely weighted, and it feels genuine. It feels like it's really connected. There's no artificial feel in it at all. You can feel, when the front wheels start to scrabble and bite in and start to lose traction. I'm jumping around there. I told you it's a bumpy road, and start to lose traction. You can feel all of that through the steering wheel. So actually, that's one of the good things about this car, is that it's surprisingly communicative. For something in our current time and day when cars aren't necessarily like that anymore. So that part of it I really, really like. The performance I really, really like. The ride, now that we're on a smoother road, again, you can chuck this thing around. You can put the power on. You see, this is the thing. It's not going that quick, and you can give it full throttle out of a corner, and you'll get the wheels kind of chirping a little bit and just scrabbling for bite a little bit. But it's not it's not terminal. It will happen. It will grip. It will be fine, and it's quite reassuring. So, a genuinely entertaining drive on quite short urban runs, and I think this is where the real appeal of this car is, that it turns every ordinary drive, a bit like other cars of this ilk. It turns ordinary drives into a little bit of an event, and you can have a bit of fun with it. So in that sense, I really like it. The gearbox is really good to use. The pedal layout is really good. So as I said, the heel and toe can work. The clutch bite is not bad at all. The gear change, it does bulk. You just need to get a little bit used to it, because sometimes it will bulk. But once you're quite deliberate and precise with it, then it's generally fine. But it's a nice change actually. It's quite slick. It's it doesn't jar. It doesn't feel rubbery or anything, or elastic or anything like that. It actually feels quite natural, and 6 speeds, and you don't really lose your place either. So that's quite good. Brakes are pretty good. Generally very, very good. In fact, not an issue. But again, it's a light car. 975 kilogram before. Now with the extra weight of the batteries and stuff, that adds about 50 kilograms. So it's still only just over 1,000. It's 1,025 kilogram, which is not bad for a little car like this. And again, what it means is that you can do this, and oh wow, the grip, you can get that. It puts a smile on your face, as you can see. The wheels start to pull a little bit, but it grips, it holds, it's tenacious. It's like, right, I can do this. It's a little terrier dog sort of thing, is what it does. It's got that sort of personality about it. Very enjoyable, very satisfying. And the other thing about this car, and again, we're in a bit of traffic now, around town, it's perfect. It's a perfect size. It's compact, and it's very practical, because the boot's very usable, as you've seen. And you can put real, genuine, ordinary people, life-size adults, into the rear seats, and they won't curse you for it. They'll be all right in the back there. The ride is okay. Stereo could be better, to be honest. It's not the greatest stereo. Maybe change the speakers or something like that. But other than that, it's very well kitted out. It's got a ton of equipment on this, and that's pretty much standard as far as I can tell, most of it. So, in that sense, it's really, really good. So where do I stand? That's got, front collision awareness and all of this sort of stuff. It's all standard. It seems to be anyway. If it's not, I'll put it on the screen. But, so where do I stand with this car? Well, I've driven this car a lot. And like I said, very easy car to live with, very thrifty, good on the motorway as well, no problem, doesn't get chucked around too much, but is quite enjoyable, quite chuckable. I really like the car. I genuinely like the car. I'm really taken with it. I've spent a lot of time in this seat, and I've spent quite a bit of miles driving it, and the more I drive it, the more I'm like, this car is great, it's perfect. And certainly for somebody like me that would need the extra space with the 4 doors and need something small because I live in northwest London, it really seems like it would be the perfect car, except for that price. that's the problem, because there are some genuinely, I mean, just there's one rival that sits into that category, and it's quite interesting because when I put up a guess the car for this car, and I put up little snippets of the front and stuff like that, and a lot of people went Ford, and some people said Ford Fiesta, and because there is that little area at the front of the grille, it looks a bit like that. But yes, I am referring, of course, to pretty much the standard bearer of small pocket rockets, and that is the Ford Fiesta ST, 200 horsepower, and that's the same price. So to be honest, I wouldn't be able to get past that. I just wouldn't. I'd be like, no, I've got to have a Fiesta. As practical, as likable, as charming, and as lovable as this car is, I'd be like, no, I have to have one of those. Having said that, give this a year and a bit, maybe a couple of years. I think these will be really good used bargains. I think that in the second-hand market, I think there'll be very little to touch them. And at that point, they will make very, very good purchases. So just live in the hope that enough people buy them now and then pick them up in a year and a half when somebody else is taking a depreciation hit. So there you go. I really like the car. I really, really want to recommend it. It's a little bit pricey for what it is compared to what else you can get. Of course, that Fiesta ST. So other than that, big thumbs up. I would genuinely give this car a thumbs up. I would be considering buying one. That would be my point of view on it. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that review. Let me know what you think of it in the comments above, below, elsewhere. Make sure that you are subscribing to youtube.com/browncarguy. Make sure that you are following me on all the social media channels. The hashtag on my hat there, Brown Car Guy. Just follow that on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and all the rest of it. Of course, subscribe to browncarguy.com, and if you're able to, have a think about sponsoring my content, and you can do that on patreon.com/Shazad Sheikh. And I want to do a big shout out and thanks to my current, past or present patrons, which includes Muhammad Ali Humaid from the UAE, it includes Partha from India, it includes Tom Conway Gordon right here in the UK, and of course Isaac over in America. You guys absolutely rock and are awesome. If you can join them, that would be great. If not, please continue to like, comment, share, subscribe. Very important to hit that like button. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch you again all soon in the next video.